Yo, One Piece chapter 939, dude! Oda Sensei, I'm gonna call him Oda Sensei for this one. So you mean to tell me this whole time Luffy has been testing out various forms of Haki in terms of all the little small things that he's picked up? Jesus Christ, dude, like I spent so much time saying, man, you know, Luffy, you big dummy, you big idiot. Luffy's just been doing the Deku thing where he's been taking notes on everybody's different fighting styles and finding various ways to incorporate them. Like when Luffy's like, yeah, hey, oh man, run to the right, then twiddle your toes 6 times, pick your boogers, stop, go take a shit somewhere, then jump into the air. I'm paraphrasing obviously, but Luffy's getting all these directions. I'm like, wait, what's Luffy doing? Then you see how when Luffy says, hey, jump, all of a sudden the old man gets the headbutt, and I'm like, oh shit, that's what Katakuri was doing. And I'm like, well, maybe that's the coincidence. And then Luffy continues to keep giving him the information, and when I tell you I'm grinning and cheesing, I'm like, yo, Luffy is low-key predicting the future the same way that Katakuri's doing it. And I was like, oh shit, man, Luffy fighting against Katakuri actually, in hindsight, was actually Luffy training. Now, I know that's a little bit different than what you got here, because that was like a literal life or death fight. Again, with this stuff going on where Luffy is quote unquote in an execution, it's like, you know, Luffy could probably one-shot all these people, no freaking problem. So I like how, you know, Luffy's like, look, old man, I'm not actually trying to hold back. I'm actually not trying to hold back at the last second. And Luffy's like, I've seen it done before. I've seen it done before with Haki, and I'm just trying to replicate it. And the old man's telling him, like, look, I don't know if what you're trying to do is the same thing as what we have with the might of the blade. I believe that's what he called it. But he says, like, you know, you can have a sword that can cut through steel. And you can also have a sword that doesn't actually want to cut through paper if that's not what you want it to. It all depends on the swordsman. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that was all the way back in Alabasta where Zoro was talking about the fact that, you know, he wants to be able to cut through, I believe Zoro said steel, or I think it was diamond. I know it was, I want to say it was Mr. One, the one that I believe it was Mr. One that had the blades all over his body, and Zoro was able to actually cut through them. And so what I like in this moment is the fact that, you know, Oda low-key kind of referenced stuff all the way back from Alabasta, which was a really good writing tool in that instance. But I like how when the old man's like, hey, you know, I can actually do that too, and I can actually train you. You know, it goes from Luffy's training on his own and kind of just dumb lucking it in terms of like, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. You know, I like how you get this moment where Luffy all of a sudden has another mentor, and it's so nice to actually see this because the way that Oda actually set that up was actually done in a way to where I wouldn't have actually expected. And so I thought that that was actually some brilliant writing right there, because I'm thinking Luffy's just gonna keep the old man on the side and they're just gonna casually reunite, and his only real support for Luffy is he's just gonna have a shit ton of people that are gonna show up to the rebellion, and it's gonna be his way of paying Luffy back for basically saving his ass inside of the prison. And it's like, no, he's actually gonna pull his own weight because he can fight if he needs to, but most importantly, he can actually train Luffy. And I like how Oda kind of confirms what I was saying like in the last chapter review. I'm like, man, you know, it kind of feels like he's kind of trying to set them up for like a little bit of training to beef them up before the actual big battle goes down in a few days. And Luffy says, like, if I can master this ability, if I can master using Haki in this way, I will be able to break through Kaido's scales. I can break through Kaido's scales, I can make Kaido my bitch. And so this is one of those times where it's just like, have I been underestimating Luffy? And the reason why I say have I been underestimating him is, does Luffy already have a way to defeat Kaido, but Luffy doesn't necessarily have all the tools? So I guess like a good way to put it is like, you can have somebody that's a better technically sound fighter go up against somebody who's just stronger than them, and it's just a matter of that person that's the more technically sound fighter of actually beefing up their actual strength. If they got into the fight, they might be able to hold on for a little bit, but ultimately that gap in power will be enough to where you can't actually make up for it. I'm wondering if this is Oda's way of saying that Luffy's in a very similar predicament, to where Luffy, because of his unorthodox fighting style, because of everything Luffy's learned in the past, whether it be Luffy testing out now I believe it was Katakuri's really freakish observation Haki that allowed him to actually see what was getting ready to happen in the immediate future. So what I'm wondering is if Luffy isn't in the process of trying to pull all this together, because Luffy's already got Gear 4, but Gear 4 kind of got slapped. So I'm wondering if this is like Luffy's gonna attempt to go back into Gear 4 and just pull everything in together, or maybe he's gonna apply this into one of his other gears, like maybe say like a Gear 1, so not Gear 1 but Gear 2, to where Luffy is able to get that that huge speed advantage. But I don't think speed's gonna be enough to actually make the most out of Kaido in terms of a battle. So I think it's got to be Gear 4. I think it's got to be Gear 4, because Gear 4, we saw what it was able to do in the battle with Doflamingo. So I'm wondering if Luffy just needs to beef up a little bit more, and I think that's what Oda's implying, because Oda has Luffy say, well, this would be good training, the heavier the better. So I think that Luffy is just in that process of where he needs to increase his base strength by as much as possible, and he needs to get his technique down. So Luffy's kind of at a disadvantage on both ends. I think Luffy realizes he needs to pull all his techniques together, and then he needs to beef up his strength. If he can do all that, he stands a better chance against Kaido. So I thought that this was actually kind of brilliant what you got with Oda. Now, when it comes to the whole time travel thing and everything like that, I like how Oda simplified it to a point where even Zoro can figure it out. Zoro's like, okay, so Momonosuke is actually 8. It's been 20 years. You're his 6-year-old sister, but now you're 26. Totally makes sense. And then in typical Zoro fashion, Zoro lays down and says, yeah, I might need to take a rest for a second. And, Zoro actually says some wise shit, man. Zoro says, this is one of those times where, we don't need too many people trying to steer the ship at once. I'm just going to play my position. And, Zoro gets a little annoyed when old girl Hiyori is just like, look, I'm so excited. I get to see my brother again. And Zoro's like, how the fuck am I supposed to sleep when you're keeping up all this yip yap? But what I like, though, is the fact that we find out how Hiyori was able to escape. I thought that was well done. The fact that, one of the vassals for her father actually looked out for. And, you get this moment where she starts just asking all the questions of like, what happened to Kanemon? What happened to Raizo? What happened to Kanjuro and Kikuono Jana? Or I'm saying the name wrong. It's this long honorific way of saying Okiku. And so I like how, you get this moment to where, Oda puts everybody up there. And I thought it was kind of cool how, you see all these men and cat vipers surrounded by Okiku. And it's just like, it lets Oda is just like, yo, I got this very strong woman who can whip it out with the best of them and definitely throw it down. So it gives characters like Nami and even Nico Robin. I'm not even trolling. Robin is very resourceful. And yet at the same time, when it comes to just like sheer power, I feel like her and Nami can take another step forward. Definitely Nami, but I think that both of them have all those tools there to where, just as like Boa Hancock, as much as I can't stand her, Boa Hancock is pretty fucking powerful. I think that both of them can take that leap to getting on that Boa Hancock level. And so I think that introducing a character like Kiku is a good way to do it, because when you look at Kiku more than pulls her weight. That's not to say Nami and Zoro don't, that's not to say Nami and Robin don't necessarily do it, but for her to be mentioned with Kanemon and Kanjuro and Raizo, Dogstorm, Cat Viper, these are all freaks, and so she's got to be like on a similar level right there. So I thought that was kind of cool to actually see that little bit right there. I also like how we get the confirmation that Law was right. His men didn't actually turn rat, and now you see this is like, okay, any talk that Law's men were absolute snitches were absolutely wrong, but the fact is that so many people being rounded up. And so how are you going to get a rebellion unless you're going to have Luffy go through and just do a massive jailbreak all around Wano? And it wouldn't surprise me if that's something that Luffy does, but I thought that overall this is a pretty good chapter. So my chapter question to you guys is, how do you guys feel about the fact that Luffy is training and he thinks he can actually beat Kaido? And if Luffy and Kaido were to fight right now, again, after this short bit of training, do you think Luffy will stand a better chance? And how overpowered would Luffy become if he was able to fully master what Katakuri does by being able to see into the future? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.